Thank you for joining us for another segment of What Women Bring, a closer look. Today I have the opportunity of talking with Sherrika Myers, founder and executive director of Every One Voice Matters. Sherrika was the What Women Bring education honoree, and today I'm so excited to talk with you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'm a fan. I'm a big fan, and I have just learned so much more about you, and just want to let the people know who you are. And I just learned that you're not just South Carolina.
No.
You all over this place.
Yes, nationwide. Well, I'm the founder and executive director of Every One Voice Matters, and I'm also a certified life coach. I'm a children's book author.
Yes.
I'm the creator of Little Herbie, the anti-bullying mascot, and the creator of Little Herbie animated series as well.
So just a little bit busy, maybe?
Yeah, just a little bit.
And a wife, a mother, a grandmother, all those things.
All of that.
Well, let's just go right in, because there's so much to talk about. But first, I just want to congratulate you,
Thank you,
on your honor, and to know that this was a community effort, that there were people out here who've seen your work, and they've seen what you're doing and how you're doing it, and just the heart. I can hear your heart when you talk about it. And I was blown away when I first got introduced to you at the Powerfield conference, and blown away by your story. So for anyone who doesn't know how you got here, there's a story behind that.
Yes, it is.
Tell us that.
Actually, I grew up with a speech impediment, so I was teased, I was laughed at, I was bullied. I hated to hear my own voice, so I was sheltered. Well, actually, I sheltered myself, and I hindered myself from becoming the best version of myself, and that kind of, I feel like I delayed my life.
Right.
And once I stepped out that box and developed once I stepped out that box to become the person I am today, I wanted to be able to help all children, all children around me, all children nationwide, to become the best version of themselves.
How did you step out of the box? What gave you the courage, or did somebody just push you out of that box?
No, it took me a long time to get out that box. I was in my 30s. Well, actually, when I developed that, my grandson, my first grandson, Little Herbie, he had the same speech impediment that I had.
Okay.
And when I saw that he had that, when I first saw it, I was trying to ignore it. But I was seeing the sign, because he was doing the same thing I used to do, right? But I knew that in order for me to help him become the best version of himself, I had to become the best version of myself.
Okay.
And that's what made me step out the box and become the person I am today.
It's amazing how love can just make you do things that you wouldn't think you would have the courage to do. I know my children motivated me.
Yes.
I don't know how motivated I was prior to. I kind of did what my parents told me to do.
Yes.
But then once I started having children, I was like, oh, I got to do better.
Yeah, because I didn't want, as a parent and as a grandmother,
Right.
nobody want their kids to go through the same things that we went through.
Exactly.
So I didn't want him to feel sheltered inside like I did. I was in my 30s now.
Right.
I was in my 30s for so long, and I held that in. But on the outside, I seemed like this beautiful bird, and so, so fulfilled. But on the inside, I wasn't. So I didn't want him to go through his life feeling the same way I felt.
So when you talk about all the things that you're doing, I said, yeah, you're just a little bit busy, but I'm always interested in figuring out, and I don't believe in this myth of work-life balance. Like, it's not going to be like this. Some days it's like this, some days, and some days it's just all the way over here. Right. But you made a comment during the event that your husband really encourages you to take some time for Sherrika.
Yeah.
Because you want to do it all.
Yeah. He's a big part of my hooray team. He knows my passion. He sees it. He knows my passion for kids. He knows my story, inside. So he knows that I want to do it all, but he always tells me, Sherrika, You can't do it all.
Right.
Take a breather, time out, you know, and just take some time for you. And I have to listen to that. And when I started to listen to him, then things start falling in place. Because when you have that balance in your life, then you're able to do things better.
Right.
But when you're all over the place, you're trying to do 10 or 20 things at one time, you know, nothing seems to turn out just right.
Right.
But when you're balanced, you like, okay, everything I do is like at a high level.
A higher level. When you really take that time to care for yourself.
Yes.
Because, you know, on the airplane, what they say, put the mask on yourself first.
Yes.
Because you're not going to be able to help anybody else if you can't breathe.
yourself,
So you got to help yourself. So that's good.
Yeah.
So where did you start? So you've got, you're an author, you're a nationwide public speaker, you got this huge mascot that I think he is just adorable. He's big, but he's just adorable. Where did you start, and how did one thing sort of lead to the other?
Well, it started actually, I started in my living room, doing the same thing right here. Me and the local radio personality, he's a chef. We started in my radio, and it's in my living room. We was talking just about things that was affecting kids.
Yeah.
So I was grabbing the attention of the parents, but who I wanted to grab attention was the kids.
Yeah.
So I was like, I say, Chef, I want the kids. I mean, I love talking to the parents,
Right.
but I want the kids. So I was like, I had the kids like animation, they like cartoons. So I started something that called Lil Herbie Word of the Day.
Oh.
Where as though that we had the words and then the definition of the word, but I still wanted something to be teaching kids as well. So we had the word definition, then Lil Herbie showed an example of the word being used. So that was the first thing I started after the little podcast I started in my living room. That was the first thing I started. And then I said I wanted to write my story.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to encourage kids, empower kids. And reading, I got to reading because reading is what helped me. Reading out loud is what helped me to be able to control my stuttering.
Okay.
So I wanted to use the same tool that I used to help myself to help kids.
Yeah.
So I started to write children's books. And so I wanted the books to be geared towards something that would empower kids.
Right.
So I wrote my story and I geared my books towards social emotional learning. So the Lil Herbie series is all about my life, growing up, going through all these challenges. So I did that. And the Lil Herbie mascot, I wanted to create something that kids could physically touch and play with. And since my grandson inspired me, I wanted the mascot to look like him.
Right.
But even though the mascot looked like him, the real Lil Herbie is the child that been inside of me for so long.
Wow.
That went through all these challenges growing up, and I just decided to birth him, but I made him to look like my grandson.
Yeah.
So that's where the mascot came into.
Gotcha.
That's where the mascot came into. And then the traveling with the schools, what actually happened, that just dropped on my lap, actually. I was talking with these parents, and I was inside a school, and someone called someone from Baltimore, Maryland, and they was talking about me. And the lady, she called down here to Charleston, and she was saying, you know, it was this young lady was talking, and she was like, no, I'm sorry, she called the lady down here. No, I was in Baltimore, and I did a presentation. And the lady down here called,
Okay.
and said that she saw me up there.
Okay.
And the lady was like, are you talking about Miss Sherrika Myers? She was like, yeah. She said, well, she's from down there.
right where you are, lady.
Right, because I'm from Baltimore.
Okay.
So that's how I was able to get in up there.
Yeah.
And so she was like, she's from, and she was like, she is? She's like, yeah, so that's how I end up getting in South Carolina. Even though I live in South Carolina,
Right.
but that's how I end up getting to school because
Isn't
I
that
was
funny?
actually founded.
Right.
In
But it's
Baltimore.
going to be what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. So, and then that picked up from someone else saw me in another state. I went to their school and it just picked up like that. So that's how I began speaking to kids and the certified life coach. I wanted to be able to become certified so that I already know what I'm saying, but I want to know exactly how can I really help kids. I want to do it the right way.
Right.
So I became certified.
And that's interesting because a lot of us grown-ups, we talk about, you know, getting a life coach. Women going through divorce, look for a life coach. Women changing careers. I don't know that I've ever met a life coach that works with children.
Yes.
So how does that, what are you coaching them through?
Well, actually, it's all about helping them become the best version of themselves.
Yeah.
See, kids, people, like, it's the same way as you do as an adult, but you're doing it as a child.
Right.
So we are helping kids to develop these skills at a
Right.
younger age so that they can know
Right.
that they are great at 2. I don't need 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
They already have that mindset
Yeah.
that despite what they deal with, they are great. So that, and sometimes that can cut down bullying. Because
Yes.
when you can tell a child that you are great, you know, and you inspire it and you tell them that at a young age, it don't matter what they face as they grow, they know that they are great.
Right.
I don't care what I run into. You are great, you are special, you can do it. So that's what I do to kids.
Yeah.
I let them know that at a young age that you are great.
Yeah.
So now, no matter what you go through in life, whatever, looking at my stutter come out, see, whatever
Right.
you run into, that you are great, and no matter what nobody say.
Yeah.
And that's what I do as a life coach. I could have become a adult, a life coach, but I want to deal with kids because that's my passion.
Yeah, yeah. I wish that. And my poor mom, she had to be my life coach because I was literally awkward and shy and quiet, very smart.
Yeah.
But just if I could have just disappeared into the paint of
That's
the
how I
room,
felt.
I just would be. Just please don't talk to me. And worse yet, don't ask me to talk. So
Can you imagine growing up? I mean, I'm trying to have a conversation with other people and can't get your word out. Can you imagine how I felt
can.
inside?
Yeah.
I had my sisters and my best friend talk for me.
Yeah.
So I wish I had a me
Right,
back then to
back
tell
then.
me, Sherrika, it doesn't matter how you sound.
Yeah.
You know, I wish I had someone, even though my mother, she did her best.
Yeah.
She raised 5 kids, single parent.
Yeah.
But I needed that maybe I needed a life coach back then. Also
Yes.
someone to help her, encourage me, because she was
Exactly.
working 2 jobs, raising 5 kids. So, I mean, I wish I had a me back then. So I've been there.
Yeah.
I know that feeling. I mean, because it was time where I felt lost. Can you imagine hating to hear your own voice?
no,
You know, becoming a mute because afraid of what people might say to you.
right.
You know, so I've been there.
But look at you now.
Yeah. I'm
Look
talking
at
to
you now,
you.
talking all over the place.
All over the place, I'm
Just
telling you.
talking to people. And if you didn't tell us
Yeah.
that you had a speech impediment, we wouldn't know.
You didn't catch that a little while ago?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about a couple of your key issues. So one of the things through this award is we ask everyone, like, what are a couple of things that are really important to you? So you mentioned that community outreach was something that you were, and I know that that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
But it must come from a place, because you had a community of people, like you said, you had folks that stood up for you, and I know your sister I think she used to fight for you too.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah.
I heard that part of the story in another time.
Yeah,
But you had a community, so you do a lot of community outreach, and I'm sure, well, you give back. You volunteer for the YWCA, like we were talking. That I don't know how you do that. I'm glad you do it, but I don't know how you find the time to reach out to the community beyond just doing your job. So why is community outreach also a part that's important to you?
Because those are some of the things that I lacked growing up. A lot of things that I provide, those are things that we didn't have, you know, so it makes it easy. You know, I remember, like, we doing our Christmas coat and bike drive, right?
Yeah.
I remember being that kid looking out the window, seeing other kids ride bikes.
Okay.
But my mother could not afford it,
Right.
you know, even though she tried hard. I remember, you know, sitting inside the house with the lights off.
Yes.
You know, I remember those things. I remember being cold and had a jacket and not a coat.
Right.
You know, I remember those things. So it's not hard for me to provide those services right now because I know how it feels. So I don't want, and especially kids, they don't have jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, they are born into their situation. You know, so community outreach comes easy.
Yeah.
It comes easy, especially when we can't provide those services. So my question is, if we can't provide those services, why not do it?
Yes.
So that's why it's really, that's where it comes from, and it comes easy.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
mean, it really comes easy because, you know, it's just something I lacked and something that I want to provide now.
Yeah. Well, I hope that's encouraging to people who think that maybe they can't do that that they can't do because you can. And I feel like we must.
Yeah.
Because if we're still here,
and you don't have to physically give something.
Right.
You can just I talk to kids. Even you'll be surprised what a simple conversation with a child that's going through so much at home will change their life.
right.
You'll be surprised.
Right.
So it's you don't have to have something physically
Physical.
to give.
Right.
But you can just have that ear.
Yeah. Be an encouragement.
Yep.
Awesome. Now, equal education opportunity for all kids, especially those living in low income communities. And we've talked about education, and we know that education in this region is struggling
Yeah.
to really get these kids educated in the way that they should.
That's that's a whole topic for me.
Yeah.
I feel like the kids in disadvantaged areas, kids that come from low income, are just being passed on, and that bothers me. That bothers me. I believe with education, we should also take the time out to understand a child. That helps them learn better. Because it's like we talked about, you can't expect a child who haven't eaten at home, don't have the proper material to come in school to learn the same way someone who has a full course meal, who has a bed to sleep in.
Right.
So you can't expect that. So I truly believe that we need to take the time to understand kids. I think that should be a part of education as well. And I think it's I get frustrated when I realize that a child is in the 4th or 5th grade and reading at a 1st and 2nd grade level.
Right.
I'm like, somebody had to catch that.
Yes.
Somebody had to catch that. There's no way you can't catch this child is not reading at a level. And it frustrated me to pass them on.
Yeah.
I believe that, that can be a whole topic
Yes, it could.
right now.
Yes.
So
yes.
that's how I just think a lot of other things should be implemented with equal education because people don't have equal lives.
Right.
So we have to implement other things to
Right.
balance off to make it equal education.
Right. We got to equal the playing field.
Yeah.
Yeah. And reading is, it's a cliche, reading is fundamental, but it is.
It really
it's
is.
everything.
It really is.
We stop signs, everything, driving, going out, entertaining yourself, everything.
And that's why I created my animated series because it's not just with words.
Right.
I wanted to have a platform where as though kids can go off and learn on their own. They don't have to, because kids be on their laptop and their phones all day long. Maybe a child's curious, right? So they can just log on to Little Herbie animated series.
Yeah.
Learn about social emotional learning, diversity, equity, inclusion, financial literacy.
Right.
Anti-bullying, all of those things. Because see, these are the tools that kids can use both in and outside of the classroom.
Yeah. Now, with your anti-bullying, are you? I know you're trying to help kids who are being bullied. Are you also speaking to those bullies?
Yes. The ones who are doing the bullying are the ones that has the major problems.
Right.
Well,
yes.
People don't realize. The kids that they are bullying, those are the ones that they don't have much. But the ones that's doing the bullying. Because it's a reason why they're doing it.
Yeah.
They are lacking something. It's the reason why you're bullying someone else.
Right. That's
something
social emotional development that you talk about.
That you're lacking.
Yeah.
You're trying to make someone feel less than you. And why?
Yeah.
So yes.
Yes.
I do. I bully. I'm a bully. But I talk to both of them.
Yes.
And we try to get to the, bottom of both situations.
Good. All right, so let's talk about how do you take care of yourself? We talked about, before we started filming, we talked about you shutting down for a little while. And I know we sometimes at the Y, we shut down, when we've had major things going on because we do have to get some semblance of balance.
Yeah,
so what do you do to rejuvenate yourself and come back that high level thinking, ready to get it person again?
Well, first of all, I meditate every day.
Okay.
I start my day off with doing that. I don't miss a day.
Yes.
Because let me tell you, and that right there calms my mind. It let me be like, okay, Sherrika. Now, after I'm done, December 10th, like we talked about.
Yes.
December 10th. Now, it's just a matter of just honestly laying in my bed watching TV, just relaxing.
Yeah.
Not have to worry about what I have to plan to do the next day.
Yes.
Or the next event. You know, some people say they'll go off on vacation. Me, I can just lay down and just relax my mind.
Yeah.
And just get a peace and silence, you know, just silent. And then maybe I'll take a trip. Maybe me and my husband will go someplace, you know, but really just relaxing my mind.
Right.
Is peace for me. Not having to plan something. That's enough peace for me
Yeah.
because and the other day, every day I'm thinking on, okay, what I'm gonna do? I got to do this. I go sleep thinking about that.
Right.
But when I don't have to think about that,
Yes.
oh, I'm relaxed. I can watch TV. I can sit back and relax. I ain't got to do nothing.
Because that mental work is exhausting, right? People, I think a lot of times people don't understand that you can come home exhausted and never lifted a finger, but your brain
Lavon,
has
you don't
been
have
working.
To leave home. And
That's
be
true.
exhausted.
That's true.
People don't realize it's the amount that you put in your mind.
Yeah.
It's the amount is the workload that you put on you every day. Rather you out in the field, rather you at home. But once you relax your mind,
Yeah.
that's so much peace. Once you relax your mind, you don't have to think about, you know, okay. Now I'd be like, okay, now I can rest. You know, and that's what I do.
That's
good. And it feels good.
The
No matter where I'm
meditation,
at.
I admire people who I've tried. There's something about quietness that, and I know it's a muscle I have to practice. I know I gotta
you have to practice.
And people have said start with guided meditation because that kind of talks you through. And I've done some of that.
Yeah.
But every time I talk with someone where meditation is their thing, and I know that for me it's hard for me to shut my mind off. So it's hard for me to really, unless I'm at the beach or in Jamaica, like something totally separate.
Yeah.
But just to relax my mind. So you've encouraged me to give it another try.
Yeah, give it another try. And some
give it a
people,
try.
I mean, use prayer, you know.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah, so you can, it's almost like this, you know, this kind of quiet your time.
Just to center yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that meditation is really just focusing on being present in the presence.
Right there.
Yeah, because I spend a lot of time thinking about what already happened and what's getting ready to happen.
Yeah. And
So I
let me
don't
tell
spend
you.
enough time.
And when you're able to shut your body down for a certain period of time, now when you're not doing any work, then you know how to shut your body down.
Yes.
You know how to shut your mind down.
Yeah.
Like I can meditate right.
Just do it right now.
Just do it right now.
That's amazing.
But I do it every time before I step on the stage, before I do anything.
Yeah.
I breathe and I be like, okay, Sherrika.
Yeah.
And then I'm ready to go.
And you're ready.
That's
Awesome.
it, you know.
All right, well, tell us how to find you. Because, you know, now at the event, I'm going to tell you the truth now. There were people that said, oh, that's little Herbie. Herbie wasn't there, but they saw you and said, that's the little Herbie lady. So I know you have a website and some ways that people can find you. So for people who are fangirling over you like I was, where do we find you?
They can find my website at voicematters.org. They can find me on Lil Herbie Series, so that's LIL Herbie Series, on Facebook and on Instagram.
Okay.
On Instagram, Everyone Voice, and they can find you on Facebook, all of that. They can find me all over social media.
All
LinkedIn,
over. Yes.
you know, all over social media.
Awesome.
They can find us. Put in Lil Herbie Series or Sherrika Myers or Everyone Voice Matter.
Absolutely. And we will include all your hashtags and labels on this episode as well.
Thank you.
Well, I just want to thank you for just being here, sharing of yourself. Like I said, I knew how busy you were here. I did not know you were like just coming back from Mississippi and probably going somewhere else. It's all good. I appreciate your time and sharing of yourself. And I'm hoping that someone is inspired. Like I'm inspired to do the meditation piece, and I hope someone's inspired to give back in some way, some form, and to be the best version of themselves.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.